basically, I've been trying to get my girlfriend into like the Marvel films, and I've been talking about it for ages. She's always been like kind of gunning me, just being like, "Yeah, you loser, just watch it. You got your superhero films, yeah." So Maya and I were like sitting in the room, and then we'll talk about like the because I watched One Division while she was there, and she had no clue what was going on, and she was just like, "Why is this? Who's this red guy?" Blah blah blah. And then I was just like, "Look, you have to watch the films to understand what's going on." So we convinced her to. We're like, "Okay, we'll put on one film for you, yeah, and then we'll go from there." So we put on Iron Man, and then she really liked Iron Man. So I've been taking her through like, we've just finished phase one. We watched Avengers last night. So last night we watched Captain America and then Avengers in the same evening. And then she really liked Avengers. She was gassed watching Avengers, proper gassed.
So
She
she's never
kind of
watched
gets it
Avengers.
now. She's never watched it.
Check.
The only one she's watched. She's only watched Black Panther.
Wow.
And Black Panther is fine because it's not really related to everything else. Really, you can watch it by itself and still know what's going on. But everything else, she hasn't watched them before. So I think she feels like she has watched Avengers before, but she hadn't watched the other films. So it was just like she was like, "Who are these? What's going on?" But she couldn't remember anyway. So when we watched it yesterday, she was like putting all the characters together. And as for me, when I'm watching them, it's like I'm watching a TV series. So it's interesting watching them back to back. But with the order we're doing it's more or less the release order rather than chronologically, because like I don't think chronologically it would work. So we're doing it by like.
No, when you do it by the way it was released,
because that means you'll have to watch Captain America first.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to watch Captain Marvel first, and then the quality of the films will be fluctuating.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know, whereas when certain characters are introduced, like I think that's why it's important to watch Iron Man first, because it introduces the whole kind of tone of everything. Because if you go and watch Captain Marvel first, it's gonna be like, okay, when you watch Captain Marvel, because it has Nick Fury and stuff, and then it's like, oh, the part with the cat scratching his eye and all that kind of stuff. It just you won't really appreciate it as much because some of these films have callbacks to other films. So watching them as like they're intended as they were released is actually, the order they released them was actually quite smart actually, because with the post credits, like they showed the post credits and then the next film was related to those post credits, or they'll introduce certain characters in certain films and then you watch a film related to that. But it's not going to be exactly the same. So like the Guardians of the Galaxy, we're going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 one straight after each other. But more or less you can watch them how they were released. But yeah, so that's what's new with me really.
That's cool.
Right.
Glad that she's picking it up.
What? Yeah, she's picking it up bit by bit. She thought she thought Nick Fury was Morpheus. She just saw a black guy. She was like, "Why is Morpheus in this?" I'm like, "It's not even the same actor." I remember when he was on the news and they were like, you know, when there's Samuel L. Jackson on the news and they were saying, you know, what was it like playing Morpheus and being in the Matrix and leaving such a legacy? He was just like, you think I played Morpheus? You think any black man on TV is the same person? You think I'm Lawrence Fishburne?
He got clowned for that. He was so embarrassed. Yeah, he thought he was Lawrence Fishburne.
But they don't even look the same. Though.
They don't even look alike. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No,
they don't
that's
even
the
look
funny
alike.
thing.
Their mannerisms are
magical
completely
Negroes
different as well.
Huh?
Their mannerisms are completely different as well.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know how before we move on, how Samuel L. Jackson got, this is what I heard anyway, on a YouTube thing called Fact Fiend.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it was talking about how Samuel L. Jackson got the role.
Yeah, because they did the Ultimates first, isn't it? And it just looked like him.
Yeah. No, they did. They actually did it based off his character, based off Samuel L. Jackson.
And he didn't know.
So much that in the comic, in the Ultimates comics, they actually said, "Oh, you look a lot like Samuel Jackson" in the comics. And then they didn't realize that Samuel L. Jackson was like a comic book reader. So he picked up one of the comic books. I was reading it, and he was just like, "Wait, is this me?"
Yeah, they basically stole his image.
They stole his likeness. So they were gonna get in a lot of trouble. So he said, "Okay, so basically, if you don't wanna get in a lot of trouble, put me in your films. Put me in the Marvel films," and that's why he's in like most of the films.